Hello, my wonderful friends. Welcome back to r/Entitled People, where you guys will hear stories about people who truly think that the world revolves around them. Much like this person, who leaves a horrendous 1-star review of a restaurant and gets a response from the owner. The review says, "Don't bother calling for takeout. They put you on hold and never come back." And the owner of the restaurant writes back, "Sorry for your inconvenience. The server taking your order had a seizure while doing so and could not complete the process. When you showed up to retrieve your order and it was not ready, even though there was an ambulance in front of the restaurant and we were attending to the medical emergency at hand, we offered to complete your order at the time. I'm sorry that you declined and chose to complain in a public forum." Oh my goodness. There's a special place for people like this. How can someone be so entitled that they couldn't care less about someone's life? This behavior is absolutely disgusting. My friends, in this episode, you're going to hear 3 other disgusting stories. The first story, OP's entitled sister wants her dead grandmother's apartment so she can move her love affair into it. Talk about scandalous. The second story, an entitled woman calls the cops on OP for parking in a disabled parking spot because she doesn't believe that OP is disabled. And we'll finish up with an entitled coworker who hates on OP because of the way she dresses. My friends, buckle up because this is gonna be one bumpy ride. I hope you stay for the stories today and do hit that subscribe button, my friends, for future Entitled People stories. Let's dive in. So, my sister, in her mid-30s, is probably the worst case of entitled I've ever seen. She's always the victim, can do no wrong, and the world owes her for her imaginary suffering. This time, however, she's reached a whole new level. She recently confessed to our mom and I that she started dating someone behind her husband's back, and to be honest, her husband is also a ginormous dirtbag, but that's beside the point. I don't think anyone deserves to be cheated on, and even though he totally sucks, an affair does not constitute as some kind of punishment. Now, our grandma passed away at the end of August. It hasn't even been a month since she passed, and since she was terminally ill, we did have time to discuss things and make arrangements for others. She lived in an old apartment that's detached to my mom's house, and we had talked about me moving in after grandma passed, and everyone thought it was a good idea. I'm also disabled, so I could have benefited from living there, as it has things like no-slip railings, kitchen tools and gadgets for arthritic hands, etc. Come to find out that my sister thinks it'd be a cool idea to have her marital affair move into my mom's property instead, so she can use our mom as some kind of cover for her affair, and I'm absolutely repulsed and livid. We were all just starting to let my sister come around again, because after grandma passed, she seemed like it really affected her, and that she was really turning over a new leaf. But it was fake. It's all because she wants her boyfriend to move in. I don't think anyone's gonna fly with the idea. I just can't believe that she even thought it would be a viable option, and something that she could even suggest to us. Why does she just assume that we'll help her cheat on her husband? I want no part of it, and I will not be an accomplice. Also, her justification for suggesting he move in is because, quote, OP doesn't seem to be in much of a rush to get up there. Like, yeah, I found our grandma deceased less than a month ago. Sorry I haven't been in a hurry to erase grandma from her home. I'm also sorry that I haven't been sorting through all of her belongings and getting them ready to be rehomed or donated. And the fact that I have to get rid of anything at all hurts, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry I haven't done it yet, but maybe try having a little empathy. I've decided that I'm kicking my sister out of my life again. Each time I think she's capable of changing, she shows that she's still the same horrible, selfish person, and I'm done falling for the charade. So OP has an update to the story, and it reads, "My family and I have begun going through grandma's belongings, and it's definitely been bittersweet. We've also found so many family photos and keepsakes, and overall good memories. I even found a box that belonged to my great-grandpa, and it had his pocket watch and locket with a photo of my great-grandma in it. My sister did manage to bully her way into the apartment for a few hours, so she could pick out what keepsakes she wanted. But joke's on her, because I hid all of the things that grandma wouldn't have wanted her to take. She walked away with not much more than a decorative bowl. She's starting to drop the narrative that her boyfriend can move into the apartment now that she sees that we're serious about me being the new tenant. But she did make some little comments that let me know that it's not forgotten. She can plot all she wants though, because we're installing a security system and changing the locks, so if she thinks she can sneak in or try to get her hands on anything else, she's sadly mistaken. My mom and I have decided that after I moved into the apartment, we're gonna tell her husband the truth about the affair, and offer our support to him and the kids, and do whatever we can to help. My sister might hate us for it, but at the end of the day, she's the victim of her own actions, and I'm tired of sparing her feelings so she can continue to treat everyone around her like absolute trash, and my mom agrees that enough is enough, and if we never hold her accountable for what she does, she'll continue to push the limits of what she can get away with. OP's sister sounds like she's been entitled her whole life, and has always gotten what she's wanted. She's clearly showing no sympathy for grandmother's passing, or any remorse for her actions, and is clearly using the situation to benefit herself, and hopefully OP and her mom changing the locks and telling her sister's husband about her, her affair, will bring her sister down a few notches and give her a real dose of reality. For context, I'm a 25-year-old disabled female. I have a handicap placard. I can walk, but it's very difficult to. I realized I was out of stuff for my salad because the collard greens went bad. I decided to go to the store real quick, but it wasn't until I got halfway there that I realized I left my cane at home. It was a good day, and I wasn't in too much pain, so I decided that turning around would be foolish, and if they had an electric cart at the store, I'd just use that. I get to the store and I'm happy to see that there's one handicap spot left, and I snagged it. I grabbed my mask and start walking to the front doors when I'm blocked by the entitled mother, who is livid. She points her finger at my car and got right in my face, like nose to nose. Neither of us have masks on, and I've only taken about 10 steps and about to put on my mask. I'm horrified, and I take many steps back and throw my mask up as fast as I can. She says, "Excuse me, you're in a handicap spot, and people like you are why my kid had to walk far to the door. You need to move your car now." I replied, "Ma'am, I have the right to be in this spot. I have a placard. I'm disabled." She says, "You're not disabled. You don't have a wheelchair. You don't look disabled at all." I told her that I am disabled and that my doctor agrees, and I'm just gonna go inside and shop. I then walked around her and went into the store. They didn't have any electric carts, so I just grabbed a regular cart and leaned on it while getting everything. I was only in the store about 20 minutes, and as I'm walking out to my car, I can see her still standing around my car. But she's not alone. She's with a police officer. She sees me and looks very smug. I approach my car nervously because I have no idea what to do. I've never been in this situation before. She says, "This is the woman who's using the handicap spot without being disabled." She points to me and looks like she's aided in catching a dangerous criminal. The police officer says, "Ma'am, is this your car? Is that your placard in the windshield?" I told him yes, sir, and I can give you the info I got with my placard and my ID to prove it. He says, "That'll be great." So I get my stuff out of the glove box and also pull up my disability papers on my phone because I'm literally terrified of what's gonna happen. She's talking about how I'm so in the wrong and I'm gonna have to pay a fine, and I'm shaking. The police officer says, "Well, everything seems in order here. I'm sorry about this hassle. Feel free to leave at any time and have a great day." The woman looks livid. She starts saying how I can't be disabled. I just can't. The police officer asked her to follow him over to her car. I leave quickly because I'm still so freaked out about what happened. So my friend is a police officer, and he told me that people actually face harassment on a regular basis due to their invisible disabilities and parking in handicap spots. You don't have to look disabled to be considered disabled, but Karens will never, ever understand because they're Karens. So I'm an essential worker. I work in a factory and I wear a uniform, but I still come dressed in how I normally dress. I love to wear skirts and decorative tights, crop tops, etc. I'm pretty slim and petite. So one of my coworkers is the same age as me, and she's a bit on the curvier side. She always comes in sweatpants and baggy sweaters. I've seen her outside of work before, and she does put effort into her appearance when she wants to. So one day, we were changing back into our normal clothes when I caught her staring at me. I asked her if everything's okay, and she just shrugged and walked out without saying anything. So I ordered this cute yellow plaid skirt since the quarantine, and I haven't been able to wear it, so I decided to wear it to work. Walking in, I saw my coworker sitting in the break room talking to some other people. I go over to the table I usually sit at and start chatting with some coworkers while I put my stuff in place. One of the guys is a man in his 40s with a daughter close to my age. He said he liked my skirt and might get one for his kid. This caught her attention, and she asked why he would allow his daughter to dress like a slut. This made people stop and stare at her. When she realized what she just said, she got up and walked out of the break room and into the locker room. Upset, I followed her in and just saw her changing into her uniform. I asked her why she would say something like that, and all she said was, "I have no reason to explain myself to you." I told her, "Considering you were talking about me, I think you do." She huffed and said that I'm obviously trying to get people to look at me and expect that every girl has to dress like this. She said I was begging for attention and how I made her self-conscious. First off, I don't dress for other people, I dress for myself. I basically flipped it on her saying, well, I don't like the way you dress because you're making people think that girls shouldn't take pride in the way they look. She says, I don't care what people think about me. Which I replied with, then why do you care so much about how I dress? Her response was, because no normal person dresses like that. You look stupid and people think you're a freak. She leaves the locker room all smug, as if she just won the fight, but because of her little outburst in the break room, people started giving her the side eye. She noticed this and now blames me for making people think that she's a bad person. I love how she thinks that OP made her seem like a bad person and is putting all the blame on her. Clearly it wasn't the part where she insulted OP and also told the man that his daughter would look like a slut if she dressed in a similar fashion. So OP has an update and it says, "Thank you everyone for your kind words. I did talk to HR, and they said since it's her first offense, all they can do is give her a written warning. Also, I get my confidence from my grandma." My friends, and that brings us to another end of r/Entitled People. If you missed the last episode of r/Entitled People, an army wife tries to kick OP out of her own house. Yikes. Entitled army wives are the worst. Check it out if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next one.